blessed love to one and all. We definitely give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life. Of course, you know, this is the shock of the hour. Of course, the mystic vibration, as I said. This evening, we'll be talking about Tutankhamun, what some people want to refer to as the curse of Tutankhamun. But this is going to be a very serious and upful reasoning this evening. So you definitely need to stay tuned for this. Let me just remind you also that, remember that the book Anu, Ancient and Modern Revisited, is definitely now available. All you have to do is contact us. You definitely email us. You know how to contact us. You give us a call, and you will definitely get your copy of the brand new ebook, our first ebook, I should say, which is Anu, Ancient and Modern Revisited. And within the pages of Anu, Ancient and Modern, I definitely carry you to the upper levels, just like the mystic vibration, and show you the direct connection with this landmass, Antigua specifically, and of course Heliopolis, the city of the sun, the city of the priests, you know, and of course, you know, graphically explained, and we go into depths on the whole meaning behind Green Castle Hill, the megaliths on Green Castle Hill, and give you a more in-depth report on exactly why Green Castle Hill is referred to as the Stonehenge of the Caribbean, and all of that is in, of course, the book Anu, Ancient and Modern. And I even, you know, make my claim, as I do from time to time, relating Antigua to Atlantis in the same way they relate the Bahamas to the ancient continent of Atlantis. Yes, they do. You should check it out. Well, I'm definitely raising the case for Antigua now, as it relates to this ancient continent that is said to have sunk in the area now known as the Atlantic Ocean, you know. So definitely you need to get a copy of your book Anu, Ancient and Modern Revisited, our first initial ebook. It is, you know, the first of the easy to read books, ebooks specifically, and all you have to do again is just contact us. Email us precise27@gmail.com, or, you know, give a call, WhatsApp 1268-728-3162. And we're just on the brinks. I mean, definitely, especially if you're listening to this on a pre-recorded or after the initial date of the 10th of July. Well, by the time you are hearing this, we should have already released our second ebook, which will be the true biblical land of Israel. Now, of course, you always hear me speak of the biblical land of Israel. You know, so what we have done with the book, The Biblical Land of Israel, we have put it now into e-version. So it is now an ebook, and the title now is The True Israel, the Biblical Land of Israel, the True Biblical Land of Israel. The basic narrative has not changed at all, but obviously you could say we have upgraded the information a bit, just like we did in Anu, you know. So even for our few, I had a few, you know, individuals who desired to get their copy of the Biblical Land of Israel, and because of issues with the printing, that was not possible. Well, all of that is at an end. And if you're listening to this live and direct, well, it's coming to an end very soon. But as I said, I mean, within a few days, within a strong for sure, the Biblical Land of Israel will be available. The Biblical Land of Israel, the true Biblical Land of Israel. And what I'll be doing, I want you to hear me good. What I'll be doing is I will be resurrecting the challenge. Now, for those who could recall, the Biblical Land of Israel is really a theological paper. And it is a theological paper that, you know, under its whole concept is to prove that the land of Israel according to the biblical explanation, according to the Bible. According to the Bible, this is very important. According to the Bible, the land of Israel is all of Africa plus Arabia. That is the land of Israel according to the geographic description of the Bible. Now, some people argue, well, the Bible is not historically, and that's not the point. You know, some people try to get away with that argument. This has nothing to do with you then. This is not, no, that's not the point. I may agree with you too, but that ain't the point. The point is that the Bible has a narrative and it has descriptions. It speaks about land masses that are seen on maps today. And what I'm saying, according to that book, whether it be holy or full of holes, according to that book, the description it gives geographically, and this is obviously going out to those who are Bible believers. That's my point. According to that book, the land that God gave to his chosen people is the land of Africa plus Arabia. Not just Palestine or even a slight expansion of such. Totally off track to what most people promote and preach. That's the point. So that's what the book is about. It's a unique book. Why? Let me be clear. There's no other teaching that has expressed this. Of course, yes, you'd hear a lot of people say the true Israelites are black people. Of course, right. No offense, yeah. And we're the true Hebrews and all of that stuff, and Africans are the Israelites. You'd hear that. But to literally pinpoint that the land itself is Africa plus Arabia, and then use the Bible, various scriptures, to literally pinpoint without any shadow of a doubt, that the land is Africa plus Arabia. No, it's a unique thing, straight up. I'm just gonna be straight. It is a unique thing. You understand? So sometimes I really see that because it's unique and it's coming from little old me, some people pretend they don't want to hear about the challenge. Years ago, we dropped that challenge. No, years ago. When I say drop, we put it aside. We dropped it years prior to that. And when I say drop, I mean we threw it on the table. Man, I send hundreds of letters to different emails, letters all over the world, my brothers and sisters, to religious colleges, to different institutions, to churches, to pastors, to news agencies. Man, I'm going to do it again. I mean hundreds of emails challenging anyone, theological schools, challenging anyone, anybody that can dispute the facts that I put in that theological paper, which became the book, The Biblical Land of Israel, to deny my facts on a biblical basis. We're not here arguing the Bible. We're arguing the essence of what it is describing. That's the point. And up to this day, nobody, and I have to always put brother Pastor Willie Jeremy's name in the light, brother, from St. Lucia, the only human being that had the nerve. And when I say the nerve, I don't mean it in that way. He had the nerves then. He had the fortitude. He stood up as a real man then. Let's put it that way. It's something I respect about him. He came into the tiger's nest to battle the tiger, brother. I gotta respect brother Willie Jeremy. What's wrong with you? We did it out on Russell Lake show, and I will tell you straight, he lasts more than a round. I'm telling you, he lasts more than a round. I mean, I did knock him out straight off, flat. I mean, if they could have counted to 1 million, he wasn't getting up. But the fact that he could go more than a round, I got to say enough respect. The brother Willie Jeremy, I just gotta say it how it is. Anybody that was ringside could tell you exactly what's going on. You know what I mean? As Khalid Muhammad would say, blood was all flying in the popcorn. But anyway, so the point is the Biblical Land of Israel. Make sure you get your copy of that, the ebook, The True Biblical Land of Israel. You need to get your e-library, you know, well set up now, man. And of course, Anu, Ancient and Modern Revisited. That's the name of the first ebook itself, which goes into the whole aspect of the megaliths, the stellars, you know, the volcanic rocks that align with the heavens, you know. So give thanks, you know, make sure you get both books and more books to come. Now, let me say, of course, remember that for the 17th day, the 17th day of July, this is July 10th, for the 17th day of July, we will have prepared, at least by that time, we'll have prepared our second video lecture. And our second video lecture specifically will be dealing with the age that we are in, the Aquarius age. That's what it's named. The Aquarius age is that the age that we are in. So we're going to be dealing with that. It's going to be in relation to the Pisces age and the Aquarius age. This will be our second video lecture. And once you are a subscriber, so if you are a subscriber to the Mystic Vibration Shock of the Hour radio program, meaning that you receive your radio programs every day in your email via the inbox, via the email. Once you are one of those people, well, for sure, you know that you will definitely get your video lecture. This will be our second video lecture now. We're dealing with the heavens declaring the glory. We're dealing with the movements of the stellars. This is going to be an extremely academic lecture. So this ain't no joke. This is going to be academics as it deals with the astronomy. So it's no play around thing. And our point here, we will be, many people, not disrespecting anyone's scholarship, but many of us, we just speak, I would say, out of turn and not putting enough understanding into what we're saying. And so we just say, well, remember, we're in the Aquarius age now. And we're moving into the Aquarius age. So in the next 2 years, I mean, whatever is going to happen in the next 2 years, I mean, if it's not happening now, as it relates to the movement from one age to the other. I mean, in 1 degree every 72 years, 1 degree every 72 years, in a 30-degree movement from one age to another age, in a 2,160-year movement, which is known as a great month movement from one age to another age. So it's good to understand the constellation. It's good to see the movements of the heavenly clocks. As you could see, it is the stars. Many people up to now, they're marveling. How is it they could have done the Nazca lines? How is it that they understood, the geometry of the earth and to build these megalithic monuments that align with this and that? It's because they knew the astronomical clock. It is through the movements of the stars why I could even prove to you the whole aspect of the earth being a sphere. Up to this day, as you could see, nobody can even deny these little facts that we brought out. Example, the circumpolar stars and many other different things. And that is why even in the pyramid itself, it shows you clearly even the movement of the earth and its orbit and its rotational speed, all of that in the pyramid. Now, who could deny that for these fairy tale philosophies that people try to bring up to distract us from speaking about the truth? So we'll be definitely doing that for at the 17th day of July. By that time, we'll have that second video lecture available for you. Is this really the Aquarius age? And and it's not no controversial question. It's just what we're going to be talking about. But take it from me, if you are really serious about knowledge, and remember, this is going to be a slide-by-slide lecture. This is something that, your children, it'll be good for your children. And this is it, we're thinking a lot about the young ones, some of these old fogies here, the youths, the younger generation specifically. Sometimes we think it's just to totally forget about them old people in this, you know what I mean? But anyway, we're going to have a lot of things geared for the youth in the very near future. So I don't want to give you no heads up on that yet. We did a documentary, our first official documentary, being the Master of Ceremonies. All of that is available too. But our second official documentary is, you may see a lot of documentaries, but these are our official documentaries. Being the documentary 7, The Divinity of King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. Both of these documentaries are on the YouTube, but yet still they are available for you to purchase if you are a genuine supporter, straight up. What I'm saying now is that in the documentary 7, we take the time, obviously, to go into the whole aspect of why the concept of God being the Son, listen to me, of why, if you're not aware, we have gone into the subject now, Tutankhamun, why the Son has been seen in relation to the Creator, the Sustainer, the Life Giver. And then it is obvious that the Son, in its movements in relation to the heavens and the earths and the planets and all that is in the so-called solar system, the Sun is seen to be the life giver. So we here on planet Earth, we watch the sun moving around the planet, so it seems. We watch the sun rise in the morning and set in the evening, so it seems. It even looks like it's dipping in the water. But obviously that's not what it's doing, but so it seems, But this life giver, the poets could tell you when the sun arises, all the birds singing, and man awakes from his sleep and, but when the sun goes down, even the creeping, crawling things of the night and some of the animals, amphibians and all sorts of things that people despise, they come out. And it's dark and, you go into your hut and you wait for the light to come. That is why the whole concept of Christ being the Son, the S-U-N and still the S-O-N and etymology, that's where these words collide and where they meet each other. And the crucifixion and gone into the underworld and in the morning he resurrects the Son. The whole science of the Son, and then it's deeper than that. That is simple. That's kindergarten. But when you observe the cycle of this sun now, the movement of the sun is that it is moving in the sense that it has an equator. It has poles. So you have the solar equator, the electromagnetic field line, the equator electromagnetic field line of the sun, which rotates once every 26 days. And then, of course, you have the polar electromagnetic field lines of the sun, which rotate once every 37.5 days, in reality, and still rotate at a different pace when seen from the Earth. From the Earth is 28 days for the equator of the sun and 40 days for the polar, negative and positive polar poles of the sun, not necessarily north and south. Follow it good, eh? So in 11-year time, because of the 87.5 collision time, as far as days, 87.5 days, the collision time of the equator of the sun with the polar magnetic field line of the sun. Remember, they entangle themselves and then they actually explode and create something that is known as the 11-year sunspot cycle, the sunspot cycle, which literally happens every 11.5 years. And this sunspot cycle, when you measure the sunspot cycle now, and especially in this modern day time, when it is recorded, I should say, and you see it on a computer graph, the sunspot cycle actually appears as if it is a snake with feathers. It looks like a long snake curling up with feathers. That's how it looks on the computer graph. Now, as I said, we have covered, you may be listening to this and saying, but I'm trying to visualize this. But as I said, we have literally put that work in, and it is right there for you. I mean, that's what this is all about. That's why we do many different things, so you can, literally go back to see, when somebody writes a book and they make a citation or they make a quotation, they give you a footnote and say, well, this was taken from such and such a book. They don't read the whole book for you again. So all you have to do is return to the documentary 7. It is there for everybody to see. It's nothing hidden away from the world, or you specifically can get your personal copy. But within that, we show you the link with the ancient glyphs of the feather and the snake, or the feathered snake, the flying serpent. That is where the whole concept of the dragon and all of these things come from. This reptile that is flying, the flying snake, the flying serpent. Now, the thing is that when you observe, even in the mythos of all these ancient cultures, you'll notice that the snake or the serpent is seen connected again with the Almighty. So that is why you will see Ra with the serpent around him. Ra, the sun and the serpent, and that's why in the Bible it is said that Christ said unto those that were around him, that in the same way that Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, because Moses lifted up a serpent in the wilderness that healed the sick, those that were bitten by serpents. So he held up the brazen serpent, and when they looked upon the brazen serpent, they were all healed. And Christ said, well, in the same way Moses did that, that's how I'm going to be lifted up. Like what? Like the snake, like the snake, like the serpent. So the serpent that was, whispering to Eve in the garden, that is considered an evil devil, that's not the only serpent. Serpents are seen in many different ways. You understand what I'm saying? In the ancient culture, the Quetzalcoatl of the Mayan, of the South and Central America, of the native Aboriginal people, of the Olmec people, the Kulkukan, these are all feathered snake, the serpent with wings, So again, that whole science of the serpent with wings is deadly. It represents the Christ figure, which has been seriously watered down. But it represents God on earth. All of that watered down too. We don't understand the dynamics of that, so we put it in fairy tale fashion and we lose the essence. The whole savor of that is gone. So now Tutankhamun is one of these individuals that have been seen as the feathered snake. I hear people all the time. That's why I did a documentary directly dealing with Seti disrespecting Tutankhamun and Akhenaten. And I proved to you that that is not so. That King Seti of Kemet, because he left out the name of Akhenaten and Tutankhamun from the 76 names that are seen in the king's list, that doesn't mean he disrespected them. Those of us that are looking from outside that have no, well, I wouldn't say no understanding, but do not have the comprehension of what was happening at that time. So just like the tomb robbers and so-called archaeologists that try to tell our story to us, we misinterpret the story. In fact, we're just regurgitating what the tomb robber told us. And as a tomb robber, I'm talking of the archaeologists and some of these so-called historians that are trying to teach us our own truth. So in other words, because they said Akhenaten, which is supposedly Tutankhamun's father, he did away with the Amun priesthood, so they say, and then he moved the capital, which may be true as well, and established the Aten, which is the same Ra. And in fact, as I said, we did a whole episode on YouTube. You could go to the YouTube. In fact, we have the audio of that as well on YouTube. You could specifically see us speak about that subject. If King Seti disrespected Akhenaten and Tutankhamun. So that's another book you can go and read as such. right there on the YouTube. We're just taking a quotation from that so you could understand where we are with that. So Tutankhamun, my point is, Tutankhamun is one of the, if not the greatest of the Kemetic kings. That's straight off. If you really trust the Kemetic science, as you say, you would revere him. So why is he seen with the feathered snake? Why is he seen with the bird and the snake? Why is he seen with that symbol which is unique basically to him? And even if you could find one other person with it, okay, fair enough. But we all know that Tutankhamun is still outstanding. Even the mystics of, the other feathered snakes that are related to him, like the Gautama Buddha and Lord Pakal. That again, we showed you that high relationship with them in our documentary 7, dealing with the divinity of King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. If you have not seen it, I advise you go and take a look at it. Now, I'm saying all of this now to get to another documentary I want to relate to you here. This is a documentary dealing with the curse of Tutankhamun. I'm sure you've always, like when you watch the Scooby-Doo and you always see them going into the tomb and the mummy coming out wrapped up running them. And there's always this thing about when you open the tombs of the mummy, and you trouble them, curse be unto you and your family and all of that. In fact, there's this saying that there was a mummy, an Egyptian casket as such, on the Titanic. Never heard that? Yeah. So as far as Tutankhamun's tomb, his necropolis was quote unquote discovered in the 1920s, 1922. Quite an interesting time too. The 1920s, you could imagine what was taking place. We're talking about the time of Rastafari, already regent of Ethiopia. We're talking about the time of Marcus Garvey going into the United States to create a whirlwind. And this is the time they discovered Tutankhamun, which I personally, another unique theory here, I've already linked Marcus Messiah Garvey and Haile Selassie I with the Tutankhamun. I even say that they're on his footstool that he has on the floor. That's just me saying people in the mass of Lord Pakal. In fact, I'm telling you, Marcus Garvey is the return of Lord Pakal. In the night of the Black Tiger, we will prove all of that to you as well. So I'm just saying all of that to show you now, when they discovered the tomb of Mr. Tutankhamun. Well, let me not say anything else. You know the story, right? It is Mr. Howard Carter, the archaeologist, the British archaeologist. He discovered the tomb of Tutankhamun. He was funded by Mr. Lord Carnarvon or Carnarvon, whichever way you pronounce it. He was sponsored by that Earl Herbert Carnarvon and George Herbert Carnarvon. And they were the ones that basically were in the front when this tomb was opened. Let's follow this World Mysteries documentary.
But then their spirit soared. It was stamped with the seal of Tutankhamun. Carter and Carnarvon could only dare hope.
Subscribe to the Mystic Vibration Shock of the Hour program today and receive our nightly show immediately after each and every broadcast. This will be done via the email and will be found in your inbox. For the small price of only 50 United States dollars, you will receive almost 20 hours of raw information, knowledge, research, and scholarship on various subject areas and topics that are necessary to be addressed at this time. In addition, all subscribers will receive our monthly video lecture series, which has a value of 20 United States dollars. They will receive the video lecture for free that is related to the month that they are subscribing for. To subscribe, call or WhatsApp 1268-728-3162 or email priestisaac27@gmail.com. The Mystic Vibration is a program that is every Monday to Thursday at 6 p.m. sharp Eastern Caribbean time on Radio Anu, radioanu.com. Alafia to each and every one. Salamta and blessed love. Honorable Priest Isaac here. It is with great joy that I am happy to announce to you that I have officially released my first ebook, Anu Ancient and Modern Revisited. This is the continuation process of our easy-to-read books. Within the pages of Anu Ancient and Modern Revisited, we take the time to show you the spiritual connection with the island of Antigua and Heliopolis in Kemet in Egypt, with the island of Antigua and the legendary continent of Atlantis. We also highlight Green Castle Hill, also known as Mount Anu, which is known as the Stonehenge of the Caribbean, with the countless of megaliths that align with the movements of the heavens. This is a must-read for all those who are students of the esoteric realms, astronomy, geology, and ancient sites. Of course, to get a copy of your book, all you have to do is to contact us at area code 1268-728-3162. Call, text, or even WhatsApp. Or you can email us at priestisaac27@gmail.com to get a copy of your ebook, Anu Ancient and Modern. It is an easy-to-read book. It may appear light, but it is extremely heavy. Listen,
Behind this wall were the treasures they had sought for so many years. In the eerie silence, Howard Carter struck the first blow, perhaps sealing the fate of more than 30 people who would die before their time. Inside the tomb, a sinister creaking could be heard. When Carter inserted a candle to check for foul gases, the flame flickered violently as stale air trapped for thousands of years escaped. What lay behind the wall would soon be revealed.
Mystic Vibration, shock of the hour.
When Howard Carter and Lord Carnarvon broke into Tutankhamun's tomb, they shed light on a treasure trove that had lain in darkness for more than 3,000 years. Thoughts of a curse lay far from their minds. For them, it was a moment they would cherish forever.
The seal on the door hadn't been broken. They were the first people who were seeing it. That would have been like the 6 numbers of the lottery coming up. I mean, can you imagine after all those years? I mean, it must have been wild.
What they had discovered was the first part of the tomb, the antechamber. It held everything a pharaoh might need in the afterlife. Photographs taken at the time show a priceless hoard of staggering proportions. The sounds they heard from inside the tomb were the sacred objects adjusting as fresh air rushed in, injecting this moribund world with a new lease of life. Meanwhile, outside the tomb, something sinister had taken place.
So let's follow this good now. So outside the tomb, something sinister according to him. Nobody else sinister. Not the best choice of words, but you get the idea.
Just as Carter was breaking down the wall, a snake stole into his house.
Hear this?
And killed his pet bird.
Now, this is something that we highlighted on the documentary 7. Now, to me, this is just, while they were breaking down the wall, the same time they were breaking down the wall, not the next day, not an hour after, the same time they were breaking down the wall of the feathered snake in the east, as I highlighted in the documentary 7. That same time, a cobra got into the house of Carnarvon and killed his canary, the snake, and the bird. The 11-year sunspot cycle seen on a computer graph, the same Quetzalcoatl. And remember, hear the bird singing out there, man. Cheep, cheep. And remember, give thanks. Hope no snake in here. And remember that we have been speaking about the Quetzalcoatl for years, not years, for thousands of years as such, from creational time, the cycle of the sun. So whatever the rhythm then, listen, the rhythm, the frequency that the cycle of the sun emits is picked up and on the computer graph, it gives this impression as if it is a snake with feathers. But you don't need a computer graph. The point is that naturally, that's the frequency that it releases. So those of us in that time who were that connected to the ether, it was easy for us to read the sun, to breathe in the rays, and then draw on paper or on the wall or in the dust the snake with wings, because we were so in tune with nature. We didn't need no computer graph, and don't tell me we couldn't do that. So if the computer graph can do that, why we couldn't do that? If the cellular phone, ding, 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 brrr, hello Germany, if it can do that, you mean to tell me we never did that without the cellular phone? Let's continue.
It was a chilling omen. In ancient Egypt, a pharaoh was given a headdress adorned with a snake, which defended its master by spitting in his enemy's eye.
Yeah, no about all that there. Let me just make up your own thing, you know.
Had the curse of Tutankhamun claimed its first victim?
Who tell me that? Spitting eyes.
The incident fueled press speculation that
Hold on. Who's the first victim? The bird?
the archaeologists had discovered something sinister in the tomb, but had kept it secret.
Bird, innocent.
Newspaper reports claimed that a tablet had been found inscribed with a deadly curse. Supposedly, it read, "Death will slay with his wings whoever disturbs the peace of the pharaoh." The tablet was never found.
Yeah, that's alright.
The press suggested that the ancient Egyptians had harnessed some mystical force to guard the tomb and its treasures.
Yeah.
Carter and Carnarvon had breached the antechamber of Tutankhamun's tomb. But the body of the pharaoh was nowhere to be seen. There had to be another room.
Burglars.
Before they could find out what lay beyond, they had to clear the antechamber of treasures that had lain in darkness for more than 3,000 years. It was the biggest mass media event of the 1920s. Out in the sunlight, the pharaoh's secret riches were paraded for all to see.
They're not easy.
Carter conducted the operation with meticulous care. For him, it was a dream come true. Lord Carnarvon recorded it for his album. With the antechamber empty, they could start the hunt for the real prize, the body of Tutankhamun. They knew he must be in the tomb, but where? Beneath a couch, they found a small hole, the entrance to another room. Could this be where the pharaoh lay? It turned out to be a simple storeroom.
Simple.
Undaunted, they turned their attention to an adjacent wall, symbolically guarded by 2 black and gold sentinels. Perhaps this concealed the body of a pharaoh who had died mysteriously more than 3,000 years before. Once again, Carnarvon was by Carter's side when the work began. This time, their efforts were rewarded with the glint of gold. As the weeks progressed, the truth became clear. At last, they had found the burial chamber, and next to it was the treasury. Inside lay even more priceless treasures, a hint that they must now be close to the pharaoh's mummy. Finally, they began opening the shrines in search of the mummy itself. 3 golden caskets, one inside the other, contained 3 coffins. The last was 300 pounds of solid gold.
A lot of threes.
When they opened this final coffin, the mummy of Tutankhamun was revealed, protected by a fabulous golden mask. But by the time Carter came face to face with the pharaoh, he was on his own, and Lord Carnarvon was dead.
Is that so?
10 days after the opening of the tomb, a mosquito had bitten Carnarvon on the face. No one thought anything of it. But within a few days, his health had deteriorated.
Death shall come on wings, brother.
The bite had become infected. Carnarvon returned to Cairo. By now, he had a raging temperature and was suffering from blood poisoning. In the early evening of April 5th, 1923, Lord Carnarvon staggered back to his hotel. 7 hours later, he was dead. But the strange happenings didn't stop there. The moment Carnarvon died, all the lights went out in Cairo. And simultaneously, back in England, Carnarvon's pet terrier howled and dropped dead. Two years later, when Howard Carter finally examined Tutankhamun's mummy, he found a scar on its cheek in exactly the same place as Lord Carnarvon's mosquito bite.
No, I mean anybody that has any sense, there no coincidence. It's coincidence because they coincide. As the prophecy said, death will come on wings, brother, to whoever touched this tool. On wings in a man, a mosquito lick out Carnarvon. The same time he died, all the lights went out in Egypt. All the same time he died. His dog, back to his pets again. His dog. There's something special about pets, because a pet is a part of the family. His dog died with him in another country, in England, while he is in Kemet. at the same time. And then when Carter finally examined the mummy, there is a scar at the exact spot where he, Carnarvon, was tongue. The science of the cycle of the sun, the feathered snake.
As the alleged curse had predicted, death had indeed come on wings.
I tell you, a mosquito bite. It is Desaline, or I think it's Desaline, or Bookman, or Macandal, one of these individuals in Haiti. It wasn't Toussaint. He was one of them real killers that said they're gonna return as a mosquito. And so said, so done. And disease came down on the Europeans. Real like that. So you don't play with us.
The apparent curse of Tutankhamun seemed to have been at work. And Lord Carnarvon was not the only person to meet an untimely end.
You kidding.
22 people directly related to the dig died prematurely.
Wow.
Could they all have been victims of the curse? Or
hold on, man. You're talking about the feathered snake, man. I'm trying to put this in your mind. Years we talking about this. You know? Years we talking about the feathered snake. That's why, I mean, if this is what happened to you when you play with Tutankhamun, what do you think will happen to you when you play with King Haile Selassie I?
Or was it mere coincidence? Arthur Mace, a leading member of the expedition, coma after working on the treasures, and within days he died of pneumonia.
Let me hear that clear.
Coma after working on the treasures, and within days he died of pneumonia. A radiologist who led the autopsy of the mummy collapsed from exhaustion and died of an unknown cause.
Jesus. Next.
Carter's colleague, Arthur Callender, had taken part in opening the grave.
Oh my.
He died of pneumonia. As did American businessman George J. Gould.
Well, he did not.
He was stricken by a high fever 24 hours after entering the tomb.
24.
That evening, he was dead.
24 hours.
Back in England, the list continued.
No, this is serious.
Lord Carnarvon's wife,
This is serious.
Countess Almina,
This,
also died from an insect bite.
the very same way. This ain't nothing to play with. His wife, not too long after him, died in the same way that he died. When he died, his dog died, which was with her. When he died, before he died, his bird died. That was to show you he was going to die.
And his half-brother, Aubrey Herbert,
Murder.
died from blood poisoning.
That's what killed him.
Richard Bethel was Lord Carnarvon's secretary. He passed away mysteriously at his London club. Then, Bethel's father, Lord Westbury, wrote a suicide note blaming the curse.
Different realms now.
And jumped from the roof of his London home to his death. The story of Tutankhamun's curse has enthralled the world for many years. But now, experts believe that something other than a mummy's revenge is to blame.
No. Whatever experts say, you know, I'm not going to stay too long in that documentary there. Because this ain't no joke, brother. Now, all that was just laid down is facts. This is not something no one can deny. This has nothing to do with your religious outlook. This has nothing to do with your belief. This has nothing to do with what you think. This is just reality. Now, when you say, oh, it's just coincident that all these things have happened, now you're gone into belief and assumption and opinions. We're in nothing wrong with that, because I may say, boy, you touched the feather snake and that's the curse. That's my opinion. That's my assumption there. Of course, so everybody is correct. But I think we all have common sense. And it's because of existing beliefs, pre-existing assumptions of other things, like God and right and wrong and good and evil, because we are already been trained to think a specific way. We even observe the obvious and deny it, because we believe in accepting this. It doesn't mesh too good with Jesus. No, it don't mesh with Allah. No, I'm a Hebrew Israelite and I done burn in fire in Egypt long times. This can't work. Even a Ras would try to turn away from this when Tutankhamun's tomb. Hear this now, man. Tutankhamun's tomb. Just a year after all of this, Tutankhamun's tomb. Hear the children rejoice. Is the first place that Rastafari went to visit when he went to Kemet. He leave Ethiopia, going on his European tour. So they call it his European tour. But the first place he went was Kemet. And he visited the Great Pyramid and the tomb of Tutankhamun. Haile Selassie, I talking about, if you don't understand. Haile Selassie, before he was crowned Negus and Negus in 1930, 1920, 23, 24. Right after all of this, he visited the tomb too. Maybe he didn't hear about the curse. So, yeah, no mosquito bite him. No mosquito bite the niggas. Because that's the real Tutankhamun now. The real, so even though they think they take him out, that's the real Tutankhamun. The real feathered snake. Yeah. Go and check the documentary 7. And for backup, check the master of ceremonies. Yeah, I'm telling you. So what I'm saying is that it is obvious that you do not play with us. What you see happening there, is not unique to Tutankhamun alone. This is a man that has been dead for thousands of years. And all you do is trouble his remains and look what happened. And the level of it happening with clear sign. You can't tell me nothing, man. Your dog dying with you at the same time when all the lights come out in Egypt, and the dog in the next country, and the snake and the bird. The snake come and eat the bird. The moment, the same time you're ponging down the man temple, the snake come and eat the bird. And man, trust me, you could stop speaking right there. But then we go on, and a heap of people, this financier and this businessman from America, and this man and that man and half brother and wife, everybody just dying, and dying in some mysterious ways. Carnarvon died of blood poison. His brother died of blood poison. It is the mosquito bite that initially began the effect with Carnarvon, and his wife died by the bite of an insect as well. And the spot where the insect bit him, there's the scar on Tutankhamun's cheek. What are you talking about? And more and 20 plus other people that you can give account of, that went down in short order, in mysterious ways. And before the air could clear properly in the tomb, here comes Negus Nagas to visit the tomb. as a young, bearded, prince. Yeah. Then he went to Europe. Yeah. Ethiopia into the League of Nations. Yeah, Haile Selassie is Tutankhamun. Straight up. No one can deny. Haile Selassie is the Tutankhamun. His footstool, the first man on the footstool, watch him good. And tell me if that don't resemble the king of kings. So the so-called curse, as I said, it's not just for him. So if playing around with the dead Tutankhamun will do that to you, that's why Mussolini was killed by his own people. You don't see how Mussolini went out? It's his own people kill him and hang him up, in Milan Square. That's a dread way to go. As one of the Bingy chants say, you shouldn't trouble the black man king, white boy. Why you go trouble the black man king? But I'm saying now, you see you? You say, you, me? Yeah, you. Now this is why you have to fortify yourself. You know what I mean? As Idi Amin Dada say. That's why you see I'm not coward. You see, when you know yourself now, it has already been written, brother and sister, that ye are all gods. Children of the Most High God. And you're a natural feathered snake too. You check it? You're a natural feathered snake. Tutankhamun, even at his young age, came to the pinnacle of the feathered snake. He didn't always have a feather in a snake. It's when you reach a certain standard. Check Heru. You don't see when Heru was young. You never see this baby Heru with no hawk head, or falcon head, whatever it is. And that's another thing. It shouldn't be whatever it is. I've been asking that question there. What is it? Is it a hawk or a falcon? These are two different birds. They may be related, but they're still different. They do different things. But anyway, another subject, another time. We'll get there one of these evenings. But yeah. So the falcon head of Heru. You don't see it on Heru as a baby. But as Heru grows, he becomes super hawk. He becomes the Heru that you know with the hawk head. He don't take off the hawk head when he's big. So it's a mature, you can mature into that Christhood. You can mature into that crystalline being. It's a natural thing, nothing spooky. We ain't dealing with religion here. It's a natural thing. So I'm just saying to even you yourself, you are a Heru, you are a god. But as the prophecy said, ye shall die like men. And the majority of us, the vast majority of us, we are just here dying like these men. Not remembering that we are gods, children of the almighty feathered snake, of the cycle of the sun, So with that within yourself, fortifying yourself and living to the expectation of your natural self, nobody can play with you. Nobody can do you nothing. You don't want a mosquito to take them out. Yeah, that's how I meditate. That's how I think. So give thanks. Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah Rastafari. Enough said. I know you say, well, that's it. Well, the time is on us really, and I think the point is extremely clear. Get a copy of the documentary 7, man. If you don't have it, get a copy. Whether it's on YouTube or not, as you see, YouTube take down what they want when they're ready. So get a copy for yourself, man. You can definitely order that too, and of course the Master of Ceremonies also for your collection, for your library. So that's 7 and the Master of Ceremonies. Make sure you get a copy of both. And of course, if you haven't received a copy of our first video lecture, which is Haile Selassie a Mason, I would expect you to get a copy of that as well. So yeah, the 21st day of December, the hike to Green Castle Hill. Make sure you're on board right here in Antigua. If you know your Bible and you do not know your history, the knowledge of your Bible will become a mystery. And it takes some real eyes to realize the real lies. That's what we do, man. Can't see? That is amongst us. Salamta. Subscribe to the Mystic Vibration Shock of the Hour program today and receive our nightly show immediately after each and every broadcast. This will be done via the email and will be found in your inbox. For the small price of only 50 United States dollars, you will receive almost 20 hours of raw information, knowledge, research, and scholarship on various subject areas and topics that are necessary to be addressed at this time. In addition, all subscribers will receive our monthly video lecture series, which has a value of 20 United States dollars. They will receive the video lecture for free that is related to the month that they are subscribing for. To subscribe, call or WhatsApp 1268-728-3162 or email priestisaac27@gmail.com. The Mystic Vibration is a program that airs every Monday to Thursday at 6 p.m. sharp Eastern Caribbean time on Radio Anu, radioanu.com. Alafia to each and every one. Salamta and blessed love. Honorable Priest Isaac here. It is with great joy that I am happy to announce to you that I have officially released my first ebook, Anu Ancient and Modern Revisited. This is the continuation process of our easy-to-read books. Within the pages of Anu Ancient and Modern Revisited, we take the time to show you the spiritual connection with the island of Antigua and Heliopolis in Kemet in Egypt, with the island of Antigua and the legendary continent of Atlantis. We also highlight Green Castle Hill, also known as Mount Anu, which is known as the Stonehenge of the Caribbean, with the countless of megaliths that align with the movements of the heavens. This is a must-read for all those who are students of the esoteric realms, astronomy, geology, and ancient sites. Of course, to get a copy of your book, all you have to do is to contact us at area code 1268-728-3162. Call, text, or even WhatsApp. Or you can email us at priestisaac27@gmail.com to get a copy of your ebook, Anu Ancient and Modern. It is an easy to read book. It may appear light, but it is extremely heavy.